It's not always about the money, Spider-Man. It's about the Mets, baby. Love the Mets. All right, baby, let's go. Get a home run, baby. Love the Mets. Let's go, Mets.
There was a bus that pulled up to a red light, and Little Nog tried to feed it a carrot while Big Nog was petting it. He thought it was a horse. Do you believe me that happened?
Not really.
He tried to feed a bus a carrot, and now you're telling me that country has computers? I didn't know that. I did not know that.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another Tanner Wilkenson podcast. I am your host, Tanner Wilkenson. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can tell we got the OG crew, just Tim and I, on the ones and twos today. Tim, say what up to the people.
What up? How we doing today?
Been a good day. Good day. We haven't seen each other in very long, Tim. About a week and a half hiatus, and we lost a member.
We did lose a member. I don't know what happened.
It's like the Oregon Trail. It's just he got a cut in his leg and then died. Well, there it is. But we have a huge weekend ahead of us, a huge week ahead of us. And I think there's no better way to start it than talking about the UFC. Tim, what UFC is this? What is it? 266?
It is 266. It's in Las Vegas, headlined by Alexander Volkanovsky facing off against Brian Ortega for the 145-pound belt. There's also the women's flyweight, and Valentina Shevchenko is facing off against Lauren Murphy. And then the return of Nick Diaz after, I think it's like now a 7-year hiatus or something like that.
It would be 2,424 days since his last fight.
Yeah. So he's back. I have no idea how it's going to look, but the card just top to bottom is pretty good. And we can just go through it. Do we want to start with how we want to do it?
I would start. I think we work our way up. I say because there's a couple of fights on the prelims, which will be pretty interesting.
Yeah. I don't recognize any of the early prelims, but they usually deliver.
I think there's a couple. I think there's one guy that's undefeated in the early prelims. I think it's the Nick Maxim guy. I think. Oh, he's 1-0. So.
1-0. Okay. Let me see if he has open fights. 0-0. So he's making his debut. Okay. Yeah, I don't. But early prelims usually always have a knockout or something sick.
Yeah, there's usually a viral moment within there somewhere.
Yeah. And then the I guess main prelims, if you want to, they're stacked. Like
yeah,
you've got Dan Hooker, who is the number 8 lightweight in the world, and who fought Michael Chandler in his last fight, got KO'd, and then before that almost beat Poirier. So, and he's fighting on your prelims. Like he doesn't get to make the main card.
Oh yeah, when I looked at it on, I just look at it on Safari and just go UFC and look through it. I saw Dan Hooker was on the prelims, and I was like, this guy was like almost fighting for a belt at one point, and he's on a prelim. This is an insane card.
Yeah, this Marlon Moraes versus Merab. I don't even want to trade that. Everybody just calls him Merab. That's going to be a really, really cool fight, I think. Marlon he was a title challenger for a while, and he's on a bit of a skid now at 135. And Merab is one of these up-and-coming guys who he doesn't have a lot of KO power or anything, but is just a crazy good wrestler, and then it just has like relentless cardio. So he'll just be on Marlon from the get-go. I bet it'll probably be an exciting fight.
I mean, even this other heavyweight bout there's storylines within that. The Chris Darius guy, he's a cop in Philadelphia. They just released a video on him today, and like he said that he's been training for like 10 years. That's it. And he was also just training to become a cop at the same time, which is kind of a crazy storyline. And the thing with him is his hands are so fast. Like, it's not like most heavyweights are like have slower hands and he's got fast hands. So I was trying to look it up and see what props there were for the prelims. Because if I do like him to win by KO. I think he gets the job done.
He's a minus 180 favorite right now. And they don't have odds for the Mirab Marlon Moraes fight, which is weird. And then Hooker is also 180 or minus 180 favorite. The whole thing with Hooker and then the other dude, they're both getting in like Thursday night for the fight.
Really?
Which is crazy because they've had visa issues.
Oh yeah, that's what I heard.
And they're gonna have to like cut on a plane ride to like it's gonna be crazy because it'll be. I think and they're both doing it though, so it's not as big of an issue as I think if just one of them was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think one might have a bit of an advantage over the other, but if they're both doing it. I'd actually never heard of Nasrat. Nasrat. But he's German, looks like. And I don't know. I mean, he's in lightweight and lightweight stack. Like everybody's good at lightweight. So he's got to be good if he's fighting Hooker. He's unranked though, which is good. I don't know why I thought this was a weird just because he's not ranked. And you had other guys who were ranked who you could have made.
But Dan Hooker was on a little bit of a skid, wasn't he?
That's true too.
So you think they kind of just gave him or looking to give him a guy?
I don't know. See, the UFC would do that for like Connor or someone. But
this is like a sneaky way of doing it and trying to get somebody like back into. Because if Hooker like knocks this guy out first round, it's like, well, he's back into the top, like that top tier of lightweights.
Is he? Because the guy's unranked. Like I feel like there are other guys at lightweight who you could have done, like a guy this weekend who fought Arman Sartubian. I think he could have been. He would have been the perfect. He's like 15. That would have been perfect for Hooker. And they were going back and forth on Twitter about it. And then they fight a week. It just feels weird to me. I don't know. But maybe this guy will come out and knock Hooker out and won't be.
Yeah, maybe we're thinking about it all wrong, and it's Nasrat is just gonna come out and finish him. Like, yeah. Let's move to our main card. We got another stacked main card.
Jessica Andrade is on here too.
Jessica Andrade, I assume, is just going to pulverize this woman.
Yeah, I would assume so too. I think Cynthia's decent, but I think Jessica Andrade is really going to do.
It's a shame that she had to go against Shevchenko last.
Yeah, I mean,
who's like one of the best like to ever do it. Like honestly,
well, Andrade beat Rose.
She dominated Rose.
Yeah.
She like dropped her on her head.
She slammed Rose. It wasn't dominating.
Well, she
and she
like
picked Rose up and slammed her on her head. But yeah. The next one, this one's an intriguing. I think this one's pretty good. With
does this doesn't go the distance, does it? It's Curtis Blades and Jario Rosenstruck, right?
Yeah, I feel like if it was 5 rounds, I might say that, but like Blades is a wrestler, and I could very well easily see him like taking him down every round and just like making it a long kind of boring fight. Truthfully,
plays for a decision.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how power. I mean, Jair Rosenstrike has some power, but he also doesn't have the power that like Derek Lewis or Francis Ngannou have, where it's just like one shot, lights out, like gone.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like to favor Blades in this one, but I think Rosenstrike, if he can keep it standing, maybe. But I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I like Curtis Blades. I mean, I think Curtis Blades is just better, kind of. I just think he's better than like. There's kind of tiers, in my opinion, in this. And then that top tier is kind of like Ngannou, Stipe, and John Jones, I would say. And then there's like this next tier where it's got like Curtis Blades and like Rosenstruck and who's the big guy? what's his name?
Volkov.
Yeah, Volkov. Like it's kind of then those guys. So I feel like this is like just for the top of this tier, but I do think Curtis Blades better. So that's what I got. I mean, this fight is drawing me in. The next one we're going to talk about, Nick Diaz and Robbie Lawler. This fight has drawn me in more than kind of the other two, honestly. I'm super excited to see Nick Diaz back. This is my first time like ever watching Nick Diaz live.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this goes for him. I don't know. I mean, he's how old is he? He can't be that old.
You can just click on the thing, and it'll take you through like the whole stats and everything.
Yeah, it's true. Tail of the tape.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't have their age. That's weird.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Robbie Lawler, I think a lot of it honestly comes down to Robbie Lawler too. Like, how does he? Because I mean, he's on a skid right now. But it wasn't that. Well, I guess it was a while ago that he picked up aspirin and like slammed him on his head and beat the crap. Like, it wasn't that long ago that was happening. So who knows how? And Nick Diaz could show up and he could be back, or he could be really sad.
It could. Yeah, it's going one of two ways. It really is. And he plans on calling out Khabib, apparently. That's the rumor.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen.
I think that's Nick Diaz's way of saying, yeah, I'm not going to fight anyone after this. Sorry, Jorge.
Yeah.
I'm not giving you
he's like, I would rather not fight you, which is fair.
Yeah.
We might get Nate and Jorge.
Again.
If Jorge wants the money or if Jorge wants to get back to the belt. But we talk about Jorge. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Let's talk about this next fight.
Valentina Shevchenko versus Lauren Murphy for the women's flyweight title. Valentina Shevchenko is a minus 1250 favorite.
Large
Lauren
favorite,
Murphy,
they would say.
Lauren Murphy being the plus 750. Do you think it gets to the third round?
No. I think my for sure bet was if it's like over under 3 or over under 2.5, whatever they put it at. I'm taking the under.
Yeah, I think Valentina truthfully just beats her wherever she wants to. So if she wants to knock her out, she'll do it. If she wants to take her down and submit her.
Also, the UFC told Valentina, they were like, yeah, you're just fighting Lauren Murphy. She was like out on vacation. I watched the like pre-thing and she was like, yeah, I was just on vacation. And they're like, you have to fight this person. So I just have been training with dudes just like at these gyms that like are out in Washington.
She like travels around. She does she has like her like main coaches, but then she travels to like different gyms and everything to get different work, which I think is a really good way to do it.
Oh yeah.
You get exposed to a lot of different things.
But yeah, I don't think the prop bet to bet is by KO or by submission, anything like that. I think it's take the under. Like take the under, and maybe if you want to sprinkle on like round 2, I think she can get it done in round 2. She might just do it in round 1 too. Like she's so good.
It's Valentina. Like she's like now doing like the John Jones thing, where it's like I want to beat you at what you're good at.
Yeah,
like
just to show that it's like these people are no problem for me.
Like she fought like this one other chick named Jennifer Maya, who was like known for her like wrestling. Well, Valentina for the entire fight just took her down and like wrestled it. And so
that's what she did in her last fight against Andrade too. Andrade was like known for these like takedowns, and Valentina had like the most takedowns in like a first round or something for that fight or something. She broke a record for takedowns in that.
Yeah, it's just dominance. She's playing with it by that point.
Oh yeah.
On to the main event.
Actually, before we talk about this, I remember I had a question for this Nick Diaz Robbie Lawler fight. Is it a 5-round fight or is it a 3-round fight?
I think it's 3 rounds.
Okay.
Now,
I didn't know if they were doing like what they did with
the Nate special.
Yeah. Okay. We can go to our main fight now.
All right. So it's Alexander Volkanovsky versus Brian Ortega for the featherweight men's 145 title. I don't know. I think this fight has the potential to be a pretty close one. I don't think it's necessarily going to be like a crazy where they like rock each other and like because they both, at least Volkanovsky is like at this point it's like almost unbelievable how good he is at like controlling the fight and fighting patiently and stuff like that. So I think it could be like a really exciting like kind of technical fight, if that makes sense. But Ortega pre his Holloway fight was very wild, and he had like a 4 or 5 fight win streak in which he was losing like every fight, and he finished the person and won that way. So and then he got his ass beat by Holloway, and then came back and looked really, really good against Korean Zombie, which is not as big of a deal in my book as I think it is with other people's. I think Korean Zombie's a tad overrated, but
but he's got a cool nickname, and that's just the thing in the UFC.
Yeah. I mean, he goes by his nickname. Like he's the only guy who does that. Like, pretty sick. But I think I'm going to go with Volkanovsky. I think him and Holloway are just a level or two above everybody else in the division, and so I don't see. I don't really see Ortega having. I mean, unless he submits him or something, which I just don't see Volkanovsky putting himself in a position where that can happen. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I like this. I mean, we'll put this in the preface. These were the 2 Ultimate Fighter coaches. So this is the kind of like the Ultimate Fighter. But I don't know. I kind of like Ortega a little bit, but I don't know. Volkanovsky has beaten Holloway twice, which is something that is kind of unbelievable to think about. So you kind of have to favor him.
Second time is highly disputed.
Well, that's not what the record states.
Controversial.
We'll put an asterisk next to it, but
we will. I will put an asterisk next to it.
But I do think Volkanovsky will win, but I like the odds of Ortega at plus 150, so I might bet on Ortega just because I think it's closer than what the odds are making it, honestly.
I think it is too. I think it's a really tight. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good fight. I agree.
So I was looking at some parlays for this. I have a couple. I have a can't lose, which is just at plus 116. So this is like all of your good ones. I got the Chris Darkus guy, the Philadelphia cop. I got Jessica Andrade, and I got Valentina Shevchenko.
What's that get you?
It's plus 116. So it's like all like these are probably surefire hits. As like an underdog kind of parlay. Let's see. I do like Nick Diaz, and I don't know. I have Ortega. I mean, Ortega and Nick Diaz gets you plus 368. So I kind of like that. And then if you want to put like, even if you throw Jessica Andrade in there, it goes up to 500. It goes to 532. And I think that's your lock of the night, honestly. At least mine. I'll put that as my lock of the night. Do you have a lock of the night? Other than like Shevchenko, like something that's got to be closer than minus 1,200.
I'm going to go with. I'll go with. No, I don't. I like Andrade too.
Andrade, lock of the night.
Too. Yeah.
Handshakes.
I like Andrade. Yeah, I think she'll definitely.
Should we So we got done with the UFC, and I think I want to talk about some NFL talk because we haven't really talked NFL on the pod. But what a weekend this was.
Did I stop sharing my screen, or do you want me to keep it?
No, this is good. Going through the weeks like this.
Okay.
Primetime games were good on Sunday. I'll say that.
Primetime games have been great this year so far. They've been.
It was Chargers and Cowboys. That was a great game. Cardinals Vikings, unbelievable game there. Tim, that was tough. But it kind of had to happen because I had the Cliff King. You just lost the Cliff Kingsbury meme, which I'll put on screen now.
Yeah.
But so it's too good for me not to use. And the fact that I could send it to you and one of our other friends, it was meant to be. Let's see. Let's look else what happened.
Titans Seahawks was a big game too.
Derrick Henry ran for 800 million yards and had like 12 TDs. I do want to talk in depth kind of about this Chiefs Ravens game. How about the Lamar haters? They were out early in this game. And then the Ravens said, we don't have to throw the ball now that we think about it. And Lamar had over 100 rushing yards, and they won the game and he had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Also, if you looked at like they were going through it as the night went on, the Ravens were averaging like 8 yards a pop on the ground. Like your defense can't allow like 8 or 7 yards a pop when they run it every single play. And that's something that might hurt the Chiefs, honestly. Teams that can just like run it down their throat.
Well, yeah, because then you can keep the ball away from Mahomes too.
Tick, 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 tick.
Yeah, that's a good.
Also, just look. This is a great little screenshot. Rushing yards, Ravens 251 compared to the Chiefs 62.
Yeah, the Chiefs fucking Tyreek Hill lost me fantasy. He is fucking useless. He had like
the Ravens double teamed them the whole time.
The Ravens basically said the Chiefs can beat us with anybody except Tyreek Hill. Like,
well, because that means they can't take the top off the defense. Yeah. So everything they just played in front, and they're like, we're gonna hope that Mahomes just he tries to do a little too much, and that's what he did on that third down. Because they could have punted it and maybe pinned the Ravens deep. And like that was when they were down. That was when the Ravens were down 11. He throws a pick. Uh-oh. Here come the Ravens. Here come the momentum at home. And I mean, I'm not saying obviously Mahomes didn't lose him the game. That's on. That's
you want
not
that
the point.
Disclaimer out there.
I do want to put that out there before Chiefs Kingdom comes from my head on a stick, you know. But that's a momentum shifter. That's a huge part of the game where Mahomes kind of got to get smarter in that aspect, you know, to just slow down, take the sack, pin them deep, rather than flip it with your like left hand to right to the defender.
Blake Bell had more yards than Tyreek Hill.
Pro Sooner. Pro Sooner bell cow, baby. But yeah, this was an eye-opening game. Also, the Chiefs have been played close twice this year already.
The Chiefs always seem to play people close. They were playing people. They played people close last year too.
Is this a Patrick Mahomes is starting to get half of the salary? We might be cutting corners in some spots. Like you look at the O-line, they've had 3 guys who have never started a down start this season.
Didn't they reload their offensive line this offseason too?
They drafted Creed Humphrey. They drafted a right guard, and the right tackle sat out last year because of COVID. But they got Orlando Brown, who kind of got, I don't want to say exposed, but there were plays like where he just got blown by that rookie like edge rusher. So I'll say their game this week against the Chargers will be real interesting.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good test.
It's not a must win. It's not a can't lose. But I will say it is, if they lose, is there something brewing? That's all I'll say. Let's see what else happened. The Buccaneers stayed the Buccaneers. They're really good. Oh, the Jets. Zach Wilson. Yikes. Zach attack. 0 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. You want to know a stat I saw today? Since I think 2000, there have been 3 quarterbacks who have had games where they've had 0 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Their names: Mark Sanchez, Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson. All of them were on the Jets. So like they were first round picks by the Jets. That happened.
Because Darnold hasn't been like unreal for the Panthers, but he hasn't also been like terrible for them.
He hasn't. It's an easy system when it's like, all right, we're gonna throw it to CMC 8 times a game, and he's also gonna rush for like 90 yards a game. So they didn't have that with the Jets.
Yeah, I think the Jets are just. Yeah, good luck to anybody trying to rebuild the Jets, because they're like almost at the Browns. But the Browns, I feel like there's always like a hope. The Jets, just because Cleveland, like the Browns are the Cleveland football team. Mm-hmm. In New York, like no one cares about the Jets. Like there's I feel like there's a lot less like.
Yeah, especially because there's 2 teams there too, and 2 baseball teams and 2 basketball teams. So it's like, if you're bad in New York, they're like, okay, we just won't come out.
Watch
like,
you. Yeah. Well, we can go see the Yankees instead of watching the Jets play. Like,
let's talk about my Browns. Can we go back to the Browns game?
Give me a
Let's
second.
see. This was an interesting game because at one point the Browns were down 14-7, and Baker like popped his shoulder out of place.
I saw that. Tyrod Taylor, not as bad as people think. I think people thought he was going to be.
I've been saying for years that Tyrod Taylor is a starting quarterback. I was saying it when he was on the Chargers, and they had to literally stab him in the heart to stop him from playing. I was saying it when he was on the Bills, and he tried to get run out of town by Nathan Peterman because they just didn't like him for some reason. He literally took him to the playoffs. Tyrod Taylor is a good quarterback.
That's true, because every place he's kind of been, they've just drafted a quarterback. Basically.
He was on the Browns. He was on the Browns, and then they got Baker. Like he can play.
Crazy.
He can ball.
Well, yeah, and then the crazy story out in LA where you got like a puncture in the lung by the team doctor. Like, just.
But
I needed more from Nick Chubb too. 95, like. But
I mean, Nick Chubb 95 yards on 11 attempts and a TD.
He was definitely not the problem with my fantasy team. I shouldn't be getting mad at Nick Chubb.
We should talk about fantasy after this, honestly. I will say Baker Mayfield, most efficient quarterback in the league right now. Let's just not glance over that. He went 19 of 21 for 213 yards and a touchdown. It's not gaudy numbers, but he's doing his job. You know, you got Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt.
In a Kevin Stefanski offense, exactly. That's all you need to do is just be efficient. Don't turn the ball over. You'll have a good running back. The defense, their defense is fine. Decent, aren't they?
We have a lot of new faces and a lot of new guys out there. Like Grant Delpit started for the first time. So we're kind of all still adjusting. I will say if things don't tighten up by week 6, we might be in a little bit of trouble, but right now we're fine. You know, we'll play well. Like Greg Newsome has had some shining moments. The rookie from ND has played fine whenever he's played, but he's been limited a little bit just because we're like gradually building him up in plays every week. So
he's a weird fit too. He doesn't have like he's too small to be a linebacker and too slow to be a safety.
Yeah, we're just kind of fading him into like places where he's kind of pretty good at guarding the tight end, covering the tight end a little bit. So we do that a little bit, but he's been fine. Everyone's been fine.
Yeah.
I need
early
Clowney and Myles Garrett to get going. I'll say that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it'll be fine. With that, we'll be fine. And Aaron Rodgers is back, by the way. For those who preyed on his demise, it was a bit too early. He is officially back. And Aaron Jones is back.
Jones is back. That's pretty true.
But also shout out Onion Funyon Robert Tunyon for giving me the fantasy win last night. That was huge. But is that it for NFL? Do we want to touch on anything else? We got on a lot of it.
Yeah, I feel like we hit the only other thing would be the rookie quarterbacks. A lot of rookie quarterbacks played this weekend, I felt like. Like Justin Fields played a significant amount. Yeah, I mean, what do you think about the Jaguars? Because I think I don't know, Trevor Urban is not inspiring me with confidence. Neither is Trevor Lawrence. If I'm a Jaguars fan.
I will say they are just kind of bad.
Yeah.
But I will also say I think the Broncos will be pretty decent this year. I think they'll be like 10-7. 10-7 in that range.
I think the Broncos are like a team where if they got like an elite quarterback, they would be like a.
Hold on. Let's look at Teddy though. Let's give Teddy some time, okay? Teddy balled out when he was with the Saints. Let's not forget. He wasn't even the coach's like preference on the Panthers, really. You know, he can ball.
Yeah.
Like these stats: 26 of 34, 328, and then 2 TDs, no picks. That's pretty good.
I want to see his. Because I'm a Teddy guy. I like Teddy because he's the former Viking and he had like his knee basically blew up when he was with the Vikings.
And he got murdered on that run play against the Rams.
Yeah, but his whole thing was that he would like dump it down like all the time. It was he was like check down after check down. And it'd be like you need to throw the ball over 10 yards sometimes, Teddy.
I will say I haven't watched a lick of Broncos football this year, so I'm just looking off the stats. Like I was never gonna watch Broncos Jaguars. Like I might have seen it flash on the red zone once or twice, but I'm not gonna watch any more than that. But yeah, also Tua got hurt. Like Tua got murdered, which is sad because I'm a Tua fan.
Yeah, they got killed too.
Yeah, was not close.
Yeah, I feel bad for Tua too because it's not his fault that they. I mean, it seems to me that last year he was rushed into starting when he wasn't really needed to, and then this year that is like kind of hanging over his head this year, and I don't know. I feel bad for him. I think but you know.
I mean, they did play the Bills after the Bills got. They got shocked by the Steelers,
yeah,
so this could be just like the Bills are also a good team that people were kind of like, maybe week one's a fluke.
Yeah,
I was watching that game a little bit, and Josh Allen was kind of doing Josh Allen things where he runs around and then like throws it and like hits 3 defenders in the hands and it's not caught, or he runs backwards like 45 yards. So I'm like, that's not a good sign, but that might change. Probably not.
Yeah, he's my fantasy quarterback too. So I just need him.
Let's talk fantasy. How did the Fighting Tim Gattmans do?
We're 0-2. The Minnesota Mongols are 0-2 on the year so far. First one we lost pretty close to Toddy, I think. But this past week, Drew kind of blew me out.
Who was underperforming last week for you?
Well, Tyreek was useless. I mean,
5.9 will not win you games with Tyreek Hill.
No, and especially when he's the number one. DeAndre Swift, I should have had Singletary over him, but I wasn't expecting Singletary. And Pittman is now going to take Chase Claypool's spot. I don't like Chase Claypool. He's not doing it for me right now. I need him to be better.
Well, he's got Big Ben throwing him the football.
Yeah.
He's not throwing it very far.
That's That's true. But yeah, I think we've just I don't know what Kittle has been used to. Kittle's been getting me like not a lot really. So
yeah. Well, that offense hasn't been running too great, I'll say. We didn't really talk about the 49ers, but their offense hasn't really ran too smoothly, I will say. But they have been grinding out wins.
Mm-hmm. And they're also one of those teams that like they'll just run the ball the entire game and eat up clock and control it and play good defense. And they'll be like lesser teams with that.
I will say I had a huge comeback this week. Stodd had all of his players going during the noon and 3:30 games. So he had no players left for the Sunday night and Monday night game. I was down 50.
Oh my.
I had Lamar. I had Jay Tuck playing Sunday night. Lamar almost single-handedly lost me the game by just throwing those 2 picks, and I was like, well, we're sitting at -3 right now, Lamar. Let's see if we can turn that around. And then he did. He listened to me. Also, Justin Tucker snuck in 7 points. So the combined, they put up 39.26. So I needed like 10 points from Onion Funyon Robert Tunyon. And he went out there and got me 14.2 for the win. 3 receptions, 52 yards, and a TD. Huge. I was going to say, wasn't looking too hot there, Tunyon, for a second, but I always trusted you. I was not looking for trade offers for Mark Andrews. I'll say that. I was not doing that, Robert Tunyon, if you're listening to this. But I need a new running back. I will say CMC's perfect for my RB1. Kenyon Drake is not ideal for my RB2.
I had Kenyon Drake as an RB2 last year, and it was terrible.
Well, I do have Josh Jacobs, but Josh Jacobs was out last week, so I just plugged in Kenyon Drake, and Kenyon Drake had 9 rushing yards. Luckily, he caught the ball 5 times for 50 or 46 receiving yards, but that's not going to fly. Also, I have Trey Sermon, former pro Sooner.
Does he play?
What? No. Like, what is Shanahan doing there? Like, I love this guy, and they benched him week 1, and he got 8 yards week 2. So I don't really know what I'm going to do.
Running backs.
I have Tyson Williams, the running back for the Ravens. I might start him next week and just be like, all right, if the Ravens get a rushing touchdown, I get a rushing touchdown. Because they don't really run it with Leite or anyone else besides Lamar and him. So that could be the strategy. It's like double dipping, but covering the spread on double dipping pretty much. But none of my wide receivers got me a touchdown this week, which if one of your 3, because I have one at the flex too.
Brutal.
If one of your 3 wide receivers don't catch a touchdown, you usually don't win, but it's okay because they all outperform Stodds. Amari Cooper 5.2, Antonio Brown 2.7, and Antonio Gibson with 9.3. So the little victories. We had a big win. Stodd's highest scoring player was Alex Eckler with 22.5. His second, Graham Gano with 22 points, the kicker. So winner, moved to week 2 where I think I played Glenn. I was in trade talks with Glenn this week, but we didn't come to an agreement. I'll say that.
Do we want to talk a little college football?
I'm down.
Okay. What games did I think were interesting? My Notre Dame Irish one beat Purdue. Finally didn't have a close game either. Thank God. Florida covered against Alabama and made it a competitive game, or a semi-competitive game. I mean, score-wise, it looks competitive. I didn't watch the entire game, to be honest, but I think anyone who loses to Alabama 31-29 deserves some credit.
Emory Jones played his heart out. I'll say that. Yeah. Emory Jones played his heart out.
Yeah, definitely can't. I was at a darty type thing, and one of my buddies was telling me how he bet Florida to cover, and I was like, no way that happens, dude. And then,
well, yeah, it started off 21-3.
Yeah, it looked like they were going to rout them. Like it was going to be like every other game. And it just, for whatever reason, Florida didn't back down.
I also want to say, I think this is a sign of things to come. I think this year's college football season, I think it's a lot closer than people give it credit for. I know at the beginning of the year, we were like, hey, it's pretty top heavy. I think with all these super seniors coming back and everyone having another year of eligibility and a lot of people were staying, I think it's a lot closer than what we give credit for.
Yeah, just looking at the AP top 10 right now, I think Alabama is still your favorite, obviously. But like Oregon looks good. Georgia looks fine. OU is struggling a little bit, but you got to think they'll be there. Like
I will say, like, we're still winning games, which is like,
yeah, exactly.
That's the thing that matters.
Yeah,
and we haven't ever really been down in a game either, which is a thing that's like kind of telling. Where it's like if they're coming back to win, it's something. But if they're just having the lead the whole time, and it's like, all right, they're up 7 most time. Yeah, it's like you're always like, I'm fine with this. I want to put on a beatdown this week, because we're in ABC primetime against the Mountaineers of West Virginia. So we'll see. We need a big win, because next week we go to the Little Apple to face our dads in Kansas State, which I'm not excited for. But let's continue.
Iowa, Penn State. I think both. I mean, I don't think Iowa has a good enough quarterback to really, but like both those, I could see the winner of that probably being undefeated and arguing to get into the playoff, which would just be crazy. That
they still have to beat Ohio State. That's the thing. You still have to probably beat Ohio State.
That's true.
And they're just so talented.
Yeah, and you got to think Ohio State's going to get better as the year goes on too. Because
once CJ Stroud starts getting more and more reps, he's going to be more comfortable with it. Mm-hmm. Also, he's kind of doing a lot right now. Like the Oregon game, he threw the ball 50 times.
Yeah, their defense, I think, I thought their defense was the bigger problem.
Their defense needs to figure it out. That's the thing. They have that kind of 2016 Oklahoma problem right now, where it's like we can do whatever we want offensively. We can run it for 3,000 yards with Travion Henderson, who I shouted out before week 1, who was going to be a beast. He's just run it with him, or CJ Stroud can just throw it 50 times and just destroy you through the air. So they're fine that way, like Oklahoma was, but they just can't stop a runny nose. Literally, Oregon's playbook was, hey, CJ Verdell, run left. That was it. Just run left, and you're gonna break it. You're either gonna cut back this way for 85 yards, or you're gonna cut this way for a 25-yard chunk play.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna ask. Actually, this is about Clemson, but is Clemson bad, dude? Like, they beat who they beat this week? They beat someone like
Georgia Tech. They beat Georgia Tech 14-6.
Yeah, which if I'm a Dabo, does not inspire much in my. I mean, it inspires my defense is obviously very good, but I don't know.
I said it in the pregame or in the pre-show for college football, the preview. Clemson's not making the playoffs. They're still going to win the ACC because the ACC isn't very good, but they're not going to make the playoffs. Because if they wanted to make the playoffs, they would have had to beat Georgia Tech by 1 trillion. Like they would have had to dismantle the teams they're supposed to beat, and they're not doing it right now.
I think they would have had a tough time getting in, even if they would have, because I think.
Well, the thing that you could spin it as, it was DJ's first real game starting, kind of with a real crowd. And it was week 1, but they were just if they were just keep beating people by a lot now, you could have been like, all right, DJ's here now, DJ's ready to roll. But DJ does not look comfortable back there. It was also because their O-line isn't very good.
Yeah, and so they can't run the ball. Yeah, as a whole. Texas Tech or Texas A&M has just been like the sneaky team that I haven't heard about Texas A&M at all this year so far.
Well, their quarterback just got hurt.
Oh, really?
They're going to have to leak out some wins because he's going to be out until they said he probably won't be back for Bama.
Yeah, that's a tough. And that's their big game.
They're kind of just treading water right now. I would. That's how I would describe it. I don't know who they've played. I'm going to look up who they've played recently, but they beat New Mexico 34-0. But that's what you kind of should be doing. Like the week before that, they beat Colorado 10-7.
Yeah.
And that was the week their QB got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to tread water. Well, they have a test this weekend. Texas A&M at Arkansas.
Yeah, Arkansas.
That's the SEC
too,
on
right?
CBS. Yep.
Yeah, they're coming off this. They smashed Texas, didn't they?
Destroyed them.
Yeah. Yep. Yes.
But yeah,
Notre Dame, Wisconsin, big noon at Soldier Field.
That'll be very fun.
11 a.m. Sure, it's just going to be a grit. Just run the ball.
Yeah. What are your predictions for that? Are you guys pulling away with this?
I don't know. I haven't watched a lot of Wisconsin, but I get the sense from this Notre Dame team that they kind of play the level of their opponent a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so I think it'll be a close game for sure. I don't know. Jack Cohn has not looked after week one. He has not looked. Notre Dame's O-line isn't that good this year. It hasn't been very good this year, and so he's not not mobile at all. And so it makes stuff. And we have a 5-star freshman or something who's on the bench who's now getting playing time. So. I
will say you guys are the underdogs going into this game.
I do like us. It's like 6.5, right?
Yes.
I like that. I think Notre Dame covers that.
I don't hate that. I like that.
I think Notre Dame covers that, and I don't know what the money line or anything is, but
money line's plus 190.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think Notre Dame almost lost to Toledo though, so they can just come out and be shit. So
it's very true.
We'll
I'm going through the schedule of games right now. One that jumps out to me in the Big 10 or the Big 12 is not really like a huge game in terms of national news, but as the Big 12 guy, Iowa State at Baylor's a big game. Baylor's 3-0 at home right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's at 2:30 on Fox. They're 7-point underdogs at home, Baylor. But this is a pretty big game for them.
Yeah. I think it's Iowa State if they're really, because I mean they lost to Iowa, but you think they're the other team that's going to be playing Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship.
That was everyone's that they were supposed to be top 10 consistently all year.
Yeah. I mean,
they have to win this game. This is if you want to stay with it, you got to win these games. Also, this is the start of conference play now. So we're getting into it now for most conferences. This is good.
Yeah, that Texas Tech Arkansas game is going to come. UCLA Stanford. For UCLA's coming off the upset.
K-State at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State are 6-point favorites. Both of those teams are 3-0. I think I like K-State, honestly. I don't think I trust Gundy in a big game right now.
Well, where's game day going to be this weekend? Do you know? Because there's no marquee matchup that's popping off the table.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna look it up right now. Hold on.
I will say Notre Dame plays Wisconsin this week, and then next week they have Cincinnati. And
they're going to be also at Notre Dame, Wisconsin. So you have Big Noon and Game Day at Notre Dame, Wisconsin.
I don't know. Notre Dame plays well at Soldier Field, though. So I think I'm liking it. It's a Wisconsin home game, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me because they were supposed to play in Lambeau last year, and it was going to be a Notre Dame home game in Lambeau. Why not just make the game in Wisconsin a home game?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. I will say I'm really intrigued at timing of games. Oklahoma and Texas hasn't been announced yet because you usually announce the game times 2 weeks ahead, but it's not the big noon kickoff game this year. Big Noon has already come out and said that. So I wonder if we get for the first time ever, because they've thought about doing it. We get game day and a 7 o'clock under the lights in the Cotton Bowl. They've never done it under the lights.
Does the Cotton Bowl have lights?
I don't know. I don't know if they even have lights, honestly. But
I thought part of the reason why they did it early was because they didn't have like lights to be able to shine down.
I've heard stories about how terrible it is there, like so bad.
I think someone's told me that there's like one women's bathroom and like the entire, like if you need to go to the bathroom, like you're gonna end up missing a quarter of the game.
Yeah, that's insane. I'm gonna look it up.
Ole Miss, Alabama next year. Not this upcoming week, but next week. That'll be interesting. Probably not, but Matt Carroll. Lane Kiffin's always fun to watch against Alabama defenses.
Yeah, that is going to be an interesting game, actually. I'm kind of excited for that one. I mean, Matt Corral is the Heisman favorite right now. Spencer Rattler has not necessarily, I'm not going to say shit the bed, but he just hasn't lived up to the hype, which is kind of mean because he's played fine. But the fact that Oklahoma people are like, hey, let's start the true freshman that just got to campus, you know? And Caleb Williams is good, but I don't think throwing him into the fire over another 5-star is the answer.
I saw this on Reddit, so take it with a grain of salt.
All right.
But someone was saying that Tanner Mordecai would be better right now than Spencer would because of how I guess.
Trust
Tanner's
me, I've
pretty well.
That has gone through my brain. I've seen the Tanner Mordecai stats, and I'm like, okay, let's. We also run a different offense. We are more balanced than the SMU's, but I do also grant. I forgot his last name. Calcaterre, also a pro Sooner who just plays tight end at SMU right now, and I'm like Tanner Mordecai is throwing passes to Grant Calcaterre. And they were both Sooners. They could be doing that on our team. I'm like, come on. But that's the trouble, though. Like sometimes you're just too talented.
Yeah, it just, especially at certain positions and stuff like that. And quarterback, there's only one quarterback, so it's not. It's hard to, and especially if you're like some 5-star who wants to try to play, you got to try to play. I think. But
yeah, I mean, you got to transfer and play somewhere, especially if you're that good. And a lot of people go there. Like we've gotten transfers for we've gotten 4-stars to commit and like transfers to come over just to learn from Lincoln Riley and just be in that QB room for a year or two and then go somewhere else where it's like, all right, I have all this knowledge now. And it's like, I am still taking reps in practice with all of these great players.
Yeah, if you're, especially at like a place like OU where they're going to routinely bring in like 5-star QBs, it's like
that's the tradition. Every other East recruiting class, we get the 1 or 2 quarterback.
Yeah, you gotta be like, if you're not playing like by your second year there, you're probably not going to play. So I would, which unfortunate, but it's just what it does. College sports.
Do we have anything else we want to touch on? Any other talking points, Tim?
Oh, big boxing this weekend.
Oh, I do. We'll Anthony Joshua fights this weekend. Also, we had other boxing news today. Canelo just took a swipe at Caleb Plant.
Dude, you see that video where Caleb Plant like steps to hit him? Canelo
dodges him and then whops him. Yeah.
Like, dude, it's not even fight night yet. You're already, give him the belt right now, dude. Like, he just hits you
Well, Canelo,
Like, that
if
was on
Canelo hits him
instinct.
with a close fist, it's night for Caleb Plant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, the fact that he slapped him and
marked
still-
up his
yeah.
face.
It's like, if that's a close fist, you're probably asleep right there in your nice suit in front of everybody, which is pretty.
Yeah.
They would have had to cancel the fight.
Again,
The fight can't go on after that.
Bruce Buffer would have walked out and would have gone and knew and handed Canelo the belt. But
Yeah, you just can't do that. Like,
Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Usyk is this week. It's coming to you from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London. Dan Levy.
we need a win from there. I haven't gotten a win in there in a minute.
I think timing wise, it's actually going to be on like right around like dinner time in the US. So it's going to be so it won't interfere with the UFC at all.
Yeah.
And Anthony Joshua, I guess, like fighting in London is like a super electric atmosphere. So I mean, like, just throw it on.
Yeah.
It'll be cool. It's heavyweight boxing. There's a decent chance someone gets knocked out. So it'll be fun to watch. And
Who
this
you
guy,
got?
I'm going to go with Joshua, but Usyk he's a good fighter. He came up, he's the unified champion. So he had all 4 belts at cruiserweight and then went up to heavyweight, which is like the biggest jump in boxing, they say, is from cruiserweight to heavyweight. So
he's got some skill.
Yeah, he's like he trains with this other boxer, Lomachenko, if you know who that is, and so he fights a little like him with a lot of like angles and footwork and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't have a lot of power though, which could be an issue against Joshua, and he's going to be smaller than Joshua.
Yeah,
But
Joshua's a big dude.
Yeah, Joshua's just huge. So I think. Yeah, I'm going to go with Joshua, but I think it'll actually be a pretty good fight. It's not like one of those boxing matchups where it's just like a mandatory and it's one guy getting blown out. But
yeah, we have a good weekend ahead of us, Tim. We got good football, good boxing, good UFC. Baseball, I think, is coming to an end. We're gonna do a podcast with Pivo about the playoffs, and we're just gonna not know a single thing about baseball, and it's gonna make him so mad. And it's gonna be perfect
for that at all.
Yeah, we're just gonna be like, so who's the good team again? What team is the win team? That's who I'm gonna be rooting for.
Are the Twins in the playoffs?
I'm like, well, the Cubs have won our last 2. Looks like we're getting hot at the right time, as we're 45 games back. But yeah, we'll have that coming up soon, which will be fun. Stott will be back at some point, hopefully. But that's it for today. Tim, you got anything you want to say as we get out of here?
No, I think you covered it all.
Perfect. Yeah, check out the Instagram, check out the YouTube page if you want to watch the podcast. Just throw it up somewhere. But yeah, that's all we got for today. Thanks for coming on, Tim. We'll see you guys. Peace.